An Introduction to Blogging. In this lesson, we are going to introduce you to blogging using the question and answer format. We will also have the opportunity to hear from National Farm Mom of the Year winner and successful blogging advocate, Debbie Lyons-Blythe. By the end of this video, you will be able to implement strategies to build a consistent readership and begin integrating search engine optimization strategies. How can I create a loyal readership? Consistency. The best way to develop a loyal readership is to consistently post on your blog. Do this by creating a schedule. For example, if you're going to publish your blog once a week, post on the same day every week. For example, post on Thursdays at 1 p.m. If you decide to blog multiple times a week, try to stick to a certain theme throughout the week. For example, on Mondays you could post on farm life. On Wednesdays, educational articles. And recipes could always be on Fridays.
You do need to blog at least once a week in order to be considered a viable active blogger, at least once a week. And realistically, my readers, I think, don't want to read about a farm once a week. They're not farm people. They're buying groceries. I feel like if I can get in front of them, blog post about what I do once a week, that's pretty successful.
Other strategies include ask for interaction. Ask questions allows your reader to interact and feel like they have a voice in your blog. Answering those questions in a timely fashion shows your readers they are valuable to you.
I do like to encourage questions. In fact, I've given away beef bucks from South Dakota for questions, just a random drawing. And I really like to have comments. And so I do respond to every comment. I know there was one blog post that I got like 50 comments just within 2 days, and so it was really a lot of work to respond to every single one. But I feel like that's really important because I'm promoting a conversation. People step on your blog or get onto your blog specifically because they like what you say, but it's also they feel a connection with you. And so I personally feel like that I need to respond to each one of those comments when they're made.
The next question we will address is, what is search engine optimization? Known as SEO, search engine optimization is the term given to optimizing your website's rank among Google's search engine. Google ranks websites by how relevant it thinks the website will be to the person doing the searching. Google does this by looking at page content, specifically at keywords or key phrases. For example, a gardening supply store would show up under gardening, and not necessarily under nurseries. When you blog, think of including keywords and phrases that a person would search for in every post. For example, if you are a grass-fed beef operation located in the Bay Area of California, you might want to include the words grass-fed beef in the California area somewhere in your website and blog posts, since these are the words that people will most likely use when they search in Google. The number and quality of pages linking back to you plays a large part. To Google, the more backlinks a page has, the more of an authority it has become. So getting others to link to you is one of the greatest ways you can increase your search engine ranking. You can do this by linking back to other people's blogs and giving them the same courtesy you want them to extend to you. Other strategies to maximize SEO are titling your blog with the phrase that someone would most likely search. Include keywords or phrases in the title of each blog post and in the middle of each post. For this grass-fed beef producer, you can see their website is titled with a subject line and keywords that help Google identify it as a useful site. Create useful content others will link and share. Post, post, and post some more. Let's talk about integrating blogging into your mobile device.
So for the most part, I write my blog on my desktop. I like to write in the evenings or sometimes the early mornings before I go outside to work. But I don't sit at my computer again during the day. And so I, for the most part, use my phone. So I will pull up my blog post on just my browser on my phone, and I will copy the link and then I will go to a website called Bitly, B-I-T-L-Y, and it will shorten that link for me. There's lots of different places to shorten your link, but that's the one I use. And so it's fewer characters for that link. And then I will spend my day on Twitter and on my ranch Facebook page promoting and communicating and talking to people about what I just wrote about. And that'll be for an entire week. I'll use my blog post as kind of the focus of what I want to communicate to people that week, but I want to have a conversation with them. So like if I'm checking pastures, taking mineral out to cows and checking cows, I'll spend a couple of seconds on Twitter as I'm sitting looking at the cattle and enjoying my morning. I'll tweet a picture of that and then connect it back to my blog post. So that little shortened link that I've got in my memory of my phone, I use that every time I have a Twitter post for that entire week. You know, my ideas for writing a blog are just what happens out here in the pasture in real life. I'll probably write a blog post about this. And it's just talking, my situation is just telling stories about what happens on the farm, because I think those stories are things that people don't know about. They don't realize, you know, what I do day to day. And so these, for the most part, I just tell things, what I do day to day, how my family is affected by the farm, how we're affected by national events. But really, truly, I bring it directly down to a personal level right here on the farm. You know, there's other bloggers, though, that their focus is more political and that they want to talk more about what's going on and address some of the controversy. I don't really do much of that myself, but I think each blog has its own purpose, and you have to stay true to what that purpose is. And, you know, kind of define who you're talking to and what your purpose is first, and then stay true to that as you write. I think when I first got started blogging, when I first got online and started blogging, the conversation was so much about tell your story. Get out there, get yourself out there, get known. Things are changing so much now. There's so many people telling their story, whether it's Alzheimer's research or farming and ranching or, you know, just other information that people are really blasting their story out there. I think now we've moved, things have evolved to having a conversation and connecting, actually making a connection. And like I told you, that Twitter seems worse, that it's just boom, 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 putting information out there. I find it's easier now to communicate on my blog and on my Facebook page, specifically my ranch Facebook page, with individuals and truly answer their questions. I think the farming and ranching community has done a really good job of mobilizing. We're getting out there, but I do think sometimes we're still very defensive. We see something in the news and we just really want to comment on it, and we really want people to know our opinion. But does everybody really have the question about, once again, lean, finely textured beef? To use that example, when that hit the media, yes, everybody knew about it. Everybody was upset and everybody wanted information about it. But as that died down, we really, in the social media world, we really realized that we needed to stop talking about it because we were the only ones keeping the conversation going. And so I think it's really important that we listen. I always say, God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth. And that means I need to listen twice as much as I talk. And so I think it's really important that we pay attention to what our consumers want to know. It's a little bit like birds and the bees. The kid asks where a baby comes from, and you give them the whole story about how a baby's made, but really all they wanted to know was what town are they from or what mom and dad are theirs. And so I think you have to be really careful about giving too much information, not in the sense that I don't want them to know those things, it's just that they'll tune out.
In review, consistency is the biggest part of creating a loyal readership. And finally, use keywords and phrases in your posts in order to boost SEO.